started? It was. Okay, I'm going live, All right, I click the live button. Let's see what happens. It's like magic every time. Hey, it says that we are live on YouTube right now. So there we go. It is Coffee Talk. I had to look at the slide to figure out what month it is. For the month of May 2021. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. My name is John Ike. I'm the Executive Director of our Westlake Charter School. I'm going to turn this direction, and there is our K-8 principal.
Hi, it's Mrs. Kayau.
And then right down here below me is our WAVE president.
Hi, I'm Amber Houston.
And right over there is our high school principal.
Hi, everybody. Mrs. Batten.
Ms. Batten, I almost said our high school president. I was like, oh, yeah, you got an upgrade to president there. There you go.
I'll take it, Mr. Ike.
I love it. Well, hey, you guys, welcome to our Coffee Talk. Thanks for being here. We will dive in and do what we do. Tonight's Coffee Talk follows the same agenda we've followed for years, and that is first, we celebrate. We will celebrate from the top of the roofs all the things that we think are super exciting to talk about right now. Then we'll present some cool information, and then we'll do some Q&A. But we want Q&A and celebrations from our viewers throughout the whole show. So if you got a celebration right now, whip out your smartphone, go to bit.ly/WCS Coffee Talk form. Capitalization does matter, so you have to go capital W, lower CS, capital C, OFFY, capital T, AUK, capital F, ORM. That's WCS Coffee Talk form. You throw that in your smartphone, and you could drop a celebration right into the show. We'll read your celebration out. We'll celebrate with you. Emily Batten left the meeting. Well, that's it. That's all she had. She's like, if he's going to keep talking, I'm out of here. The president will come back. She'll be back. There she is. All right, so let's keep going and do some celebrating. Em, did you think you're hitting the mute button and you hit the hang up button?
I was actually going to look at celebrations, the celebration form, and the tabs collided. Sorry, everybody.
No, it's fine. It's good. All the things, man. All the things. Someday we'll have this event back in the library where it belongs. But I don't know. I kind of like the YouTube thing. All right, let's dive in and do some celebrations. Families, your celebration, enter here. So please make sure you use that link to send a celebration in. Hey, Mrs. Kayau, you want to take this first celebration?
I do. So I'm really excited to celebrate this. Is that our playground is open. Our play structures are open. They opened this week, and our students are rotating one class at each grade level recess to be able to play. So you can see some kinder friends riding their trikes, and they've got to play in their play structure. And then our bigger kids are doing a relay as we introduce the playground, the play structure back to all of our students.
Yeah, I love it. I think the little obstacle course relay is so fun to watch. They got this little pattern to go through. I want to make like one of those time-lapse videos. Batten, will you raise your hand?
Yeah, if I could just add to that celebration, just share something from my house. So I have a kindergartner in my house, and I think we've said this in different meetings, but that if our kindergartners don't get to play on this playground, they never get to come back again. And my kindergartner has been coming to Westlake on campus since he was 3 years old, and had been dying to play on that playground. And so on Monday when he got to play on the playground, he came home and beaming and just, this is the greatest ever. I got to play on the kinder playground for my kindergarten year. So just a thank you to the team for making that possible. I know that it took a lot of effort and planning to pull that all together. And so from the Batten house to all of you, it was a big deal. And my fifth grader, who I thought wouldn't care, was like, the playground is awesome. So, you know.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Well, good job to everybody who pulled that off. I love the way you're doing it with the structures, keeping it safe, but keeping it engaging and fun. I dig it. Great job, you guys. Hey, Batten, you want to riff on the mobile library?
I would love to. I think, Mr. Ike is so funny about this. When we moved to this campus, we had a conversation with Mrs. Polanco about creating, I think we were calling them mules, right. Mobile utility library, something, expeditions. And so to see this happening, to kind of come to life is so exciting. The ability for our students to check out books and interact with our library in a safe way during this time is just another testament to us, taking what's important to our school and making it possible in these times. So celebrate the book library.
I love it. Hey, I just want to celebrate this piece here. This, students safely back on campus. When you think about having kids back on campus, of course, it's amazing. We love having the kids here. But looking at some of these pictures, you think about how we're doing what we do the way we do. If we were doing Zoom in the room where kids were zooming in on the computer while kids were in class, We couldn't do a bunch of the things you see on the screen here. You couldn't have kids out in the grassy field reading books in the sun. I love that the dedicated time on campus is really dedicated to making campus awesome. And then the dedicated time in the afternoon is dedicated to making afternoon and digital learning awesome. Look at all the joy we're seeing on campus. Kids on campus, outdoors, enjoying the fresh air. Even when it was windy this last week, kids were out there digging it. So great stuff. Just more pictures. Here's Mixits doing some teaching outside. There's a zoomed in picture right there where they're doing all these really cool math, calculating slope on the ground with chalk. There's Mrs. Connolly, got third grade kids outside on mats doing some third grade stuff outside. Just great stuff. Mrs. Houston, will you take this celebration?
Absolutely. A couple weeks ago, we had Culture Day, which coincided with our international festival, and our Wave Facebook page was just sprinkled with so many photographs. And what I really loved about this is how personal they all were. People talked about their culture. They talked about what their students chose. And it was just really cool. And then going on to, say, Twitter or somewhere else, then we saw some staff members who also went to campus that day and shared their culture with their students. And so I know there was a lot of discussions in classrooms as well about like sharing their culture and some of their favorite traditions. So I just love that we do this day.
Yeah, I love it. It's part of who we are, man. I love this piece right here. Hey, are there any celebrations in the Google form that we should pluck and throw out live on the YouTubes, or should we move forward and see if any populate in as we go?
I don't see any yet, Mr. Ike.
Maybe refresh. I'm sure somebody out there in YouTube would love to celebrate. Sorry, whoever's out there, I hope you can throw us a celebration because we'd love to hear from you. All right, well, let's dive forward. Hey, team, put you on the spot live on the YouTubes. Those were the slides. Any personal celebrations, anything you want to shout out while we're in the celebration mode? Something you've seen on campus, something you've experienced in the community? Anything you want to riff on, Mrs. Caillou?
I just wanted to take a moment and celebrate our parent community and the love that they shared and showered our staff with last week. I've been in so many different conversations, and they've just felt very appreciated and cared for last week. And so thank you to Wave and to the whole parent community for stepping up and really celebrating our staff. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we do that little Google form, and we got almost 2,000 entries on the form. It's like over 1,920 some odd entries. That's a lot of notes of appreciation that got merged right in. Teachers got these emails that said, here's all the things that people have said about you. And they're like scrolling down, and just everybody was like, oh man, that felt good on a Friday. Thanks, families. Hey, Houston, you guys got anything you want to share?
If I can recycle a celebration, just because I'm really excited about this piece. I shared it on the podcast last week, but last week we had a chance to come together with our Natomas Unified School District Nutrition Service partners and start dreaming. And they've been dreaming for a year on what will be possible at our high school as they're calling us their test kitchen. But we just had some incredible parents come out and be part of that conversation. Some of our new ninth grade families or current eighth grade families moving on to ninth grade. And so just a thank you to those families, and thank you to our partners at Natomas Unified School District for engaging this work with us.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I'm hearing food trucks and all kinds of cool stuff coming out of that conversation. Houston, you got anything, or you can pass?
I wanted to shout out all of our admin team, especially, who's been out there getting cars in and out every single day. I mean, it's a huge job. And typically we had some parents step in, and it's been completely orchestrated by staff members now. And there's just a lot of cars coming in and out in a very small period of time. And I've had a great experience with it. So I just wanted to thank everybody for jumping in. It's something that a lot of people haven't typically done. So I think it's very well done.
Yeah, thanks for the shout out. I'll be the bad guy and say this. Hey, everybody, slower is always better. So if you think, I'm helping out, let me race out of the parking lot to get out of everybody's way, you don't need to do that. Go slow in the parking lot. I see some people excited to get off to work and they're pulling out quickly, but oh my goodness, there's a few close calls. So families, everywhere around this campus, within a mile of this campus, just take it slow. If we all move slowly, we'll all move safely. All right, I love the celebration. It's a good shout out. I love it. what are we talking about in Coffee Talk this week? I think, am I up first? I am up first. So each month in Coffee Talk, I'll be talking about reopening. Are we going from baseline to increased capacity to virtual orientation? Well, now I'm starting to talk about fall 2021. So if you missed this riff, I'll give it to you real quick. And first, I'd like to start by saying thank you. Thank you to all the families who managed all the changes that were the 2020-2021 school year. I was talking to some team members this morning. We were talking about, last June, we thought we were going to open in August in like baseline. And then that all fell apart. We opened up in distance learning. And then we thought we were going to open again in baseline in November. And just so many changes this year. But to arrive where we are today, to see so much joy in the kids today and so much resilience, it's really because of all the family collaboration. So thank you to all of our families for making this possible. The truth is our families have kept our community together along with the school, and we are really proud of the work that we've done to keep our communities together, that all their kids are still with their teacher, they're still with their classmates. Let's finish this year strong and walk into the 2021-2022 school year. So if you haven't heard the news yet, which I just talked to somebody this morning who hadn't heard, we are planning for 5 days a week, full days, back to school that looks a little more like school the way we used to do, right? 5 days a week from the morning all the way to the regular dismissal time in the afternoon. We are hearing that the Pfizer vaccine is available for children 12 to 15 years old. So even some of those middle school kids, that's going to become available to them, which is just more and more good news about our community being safer and safer and making school more and more possible. So 5 days a week, in-class instruction. We have not been authorized to offer distance learning, so I need to be clear with all of our families. And I know for some families they're still enjoying distance learning, but we've done that all year, and we've worked hard to do it well, but we are not planning to do it in the fall, in part because the legislature has not authorized that for our charter schools yet. And so we are planning for 5 days a week, full days of instruction, but we continue, to work with the Sacramento County Public Health Department. I'm assuming that the fall is going to include masks, some form of distancing. We're not going to be playing dog pile at recess, right? They'll still be washing hands a lot, but we'll be back at school, and that will be pretty fantastic. I love the pictures on the screen here of all the kids on the playground and out in the yard having activity time. So looking very much forward to the fall of 2021. Thank you, families. Mrs. Caillou, is this your riff, social emotional learning?
It is. And I just, I come out every month and I like to focus on something that I just see in action every single day. And, I see it in our distance learning classrooms, and I see it on campus in this focus on SEL. And so on the next slide, we just kind of focus on three different areas here where we're focusing on one thing I'd like to highlight is in our middle school, we have a middle school fishbowl. And this is something where our students in 6th through 8th grade, they mix together and they get to talk about topics that are either brought up by them or are topics that staff were looking to try to get information about how they're doing. And it helps us to say, what are our next steps in advisory or in middle school in general to support them? The other part is a morning break. That was my first celebration, is just to have our kiddos out on campus playing on the play structure and structured safe play daily. It is filled with joy out there where our kiddos, they're wearing masks, but you can see in their eyes and they're laughing and they are safely playing with one another. It's, like some people are like, are they having fun? I'm like, oh, yes, they are. I have walked all of those different spaces, and I'm going to tell you, our instructional aides and our duties are like on fire. They're so happy playing with them. And Miss Woodard, one of our PE teachers, spends that time out there with them too. And she just is enjoying it as well. And so when we focus on SEL and social emotional learning, a big part of that is play. And how do you engage with other students in a safe way and learn to communicate? And so it's really wonderful. And every day we have our morning meeting and our advisory every single day where students start their day. And in middle school, they have a midday advisory, and this is actually a little plug for if you're a middle school family listening, that your kiddo should log in at 12:30 every day to talk with their advisory teacher to keep that alive. But that focus on SEL has really been alive. It's part of everything that we do, and so I wanted to celebrate that today.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great call. We forget that the morning break, the recess time, the active play time is social emotional learning, man. We learn so much on the field at play. So, yeah, great work right there. Hey, I know you'll call it out. Are there anything in the Google form? Anybody chiming in? Is there one, Jen? You got one? All right. We got an active listener. What do you got?
Yes, we have an active listener. Carissa Richards Johnson has said, let's celebrate Miss Talia. No matter how many questions I ask or how much I need help, she is fast to respond, always cheerful, and so helpful. What a wonderful staff member. Totally agree with that. Miss Talia helps me every single day, too. So, and she does it willingly and kindly. So thanks for celebrating her.
Yeah, she is phenomenal. Yeah, she works the front desk, and you can't get nothing past Miss Talia. She knows the answers to all the questions. I'm always like, hey, where do we keep that thing? Right over here. Yeah, she knows all the answers. That's great. Thank you, Mrs. Johnson, for the shout out there. Wave Talk with Amber Houston. Mrs. Houston, what do you got for us this week?
So this week I have a little bit of information, and I think I have a lot of kudos. I mean, I was kind of thinking, like, this is our last coffee talk of this school year.
Oh.
I know. It's May. The mid-May, and this is our last coffee talk. So here we are. So I wanted to thank everybody who contributed to the International Festival. You can see that beautiful map that Tony Alexander made that I just can't get enough of. It's beautiful. I worked with her and Mrs. Caillou to kind of put this together, and it was great teamwork, and I appreciate all the contributors. There was so much great stuff, a lot of really good recipes. So if you haven't checked it out, it's still there, so you can still check it out. But so many fantastic recipes, great videos, a lot of just great information about, people's cultures and what they love about their family's traditions. So thank you once again. And then May is Bike Month. Typically on our campus, May is Bike Month is a really big deal. We're like handing out shirts, and there's so much stuff going on. And it's kind of, I think, getting missed a bit this year because we're not on campus and we're not really out there handing stuff out. But Jibe has done more this year than they've ever done before. So if you see that little graphic, that's just some of the stuff they're doing. So tomorrow morning from 7 to 9 a.m., if you walk or bike to Burberry Park, they are giving out coffee and treats. Walking or biking by, you just stop and get coffee. So every Wednesday morning in May, they're doing that at different parks. Then for students, if you bike to a local park, and it's a different park every Wednesday, tomorrow between 5 and 7 p.m. is at Witter Ranch. If you bike there, then Kona Ice will be handing out free desserts to any children who bike. There's so many cool things going on. There's still the car-free Saturdays, where if you go to certain restaurants on Saturdays, you get a gift card. There's just so many things going on. There's $5 bike helmets, and there's scavenger hunts for kids and adults. There's just so many things. They're giving away tons of prizes. They're handing out shirts left and right. So be sure you hit up a couple of these events, ride your bike around. You can log students' trips and win prizes that way. So be sure to jump on the website and check it out, because I promise there's something for everybody. I'm kind of blown away by how many things they're doing this month. They've never done anything like this before. So it's awesome that we partner with Jive. And Mr. Ike and I both got some of those treats last Wednesday. They were $10 desserts that kids got.
They're big. It was really beautiful. I thought we were going to get we're going to get a little ice cream cone. And we got there. My daughter's in 3rd grade. It was bigger than her. It was cool, Amber's. I think the gig was you had to bike up there with a helmet on, which I kind of dug because, first of all, I remembered to bring the helmet, so that worked out really well. But I thought, what a great message. Like, wear your helmet and get a huge ice cream cone.
I have a line of light on my head. The moving sun. Right. So yes, it's awesome. Be sure to show your helmet. That is a big part of it. So tomorrow for Kona Ice, they're going to be looking for the helmets, and that's how you get a free treat. I wanted to also talk about really quickly, we do have one vacant board position on the WAVE board for next year, and that is the VP of Business Affairs. If you want to learn more, you want to ask questions, you want to get involved, be sure to shoot me an email, reach out to me. And you can also just ask about committees. We have several people who have volunteered for some of these committees, so we're forming them. We would love to get healthy sized committees. We don't want anybody doing a bunch of work. We want everybody just to share these committees and work together, grab a couple friends and create your own committee. So let's get some of these committees filled. We can talk about what next year looks like. And a lot of these things are going to take place no matter what. Staff appreciation, spirit gear. We would love to get some more gear. And we're going to be looking at high school gear, which we'll talk more about maybe a little bit later. And so I'm just excited about these committees, and I would love to get, especially since we know now, it's like we're going to be on campus full time. Let's get more parents involved, and let's start filling these committees. And then I'm really trying to get out of this light. Driving me crazy.
Mrs. Caillou, I think I can't remember what meeting, but just recently you had the same thing. The sun was coming right across your face, and you're like, I can't duck it.
It was the last coffee talk.
Yeah, was that what it was?
Yeah, it was the last coffee talk. Isn't that
You're
fun?
next to the window. Ugh. And then kudos. I said there was lots of kudos. Now I'm dark. See, I'm like,
You're perfect. You're perfect.
This is real life.
Right.
So when I put the word out for staff appreciation, quite honestly, the pouring in of donations, financially, items was completely unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just want to thank every single parent out there who donated or even considered donating. I know we all have these, people were dropping off things at the front desk with Talia. There's just so many things that happened, and it was fantastic. Then handing things to teachers, having students bring things to teachers. I know teachers got, gift cards in their email, just all of these amazing things that showed them how much we appreciate them. So thank you. And then Mrs. Caillou and I just kind of threw together a spreadsheet asking for volunteers and it filled up within, I think, an hour. And then we have a list of people who are in the wings in case we need more help. So our families want to volunteer, and it's like, I appreciate you. We see you. Thank you for being there for us and for wanting to do as much as you can. So I just wanted to thank all of our donors and volunteers. And I wanted to hit staff appreciation again. We had a fantastic team put it together. There was a lot of work behind the scenes and specifically on campus because we couldn't go on campus. So I was working with Amy Wells,
Superstar.
Tony Alexander, and Stacy, and they were putting everything together behind the scenes. They were making it all happen. So it was kind of passing everything off. Then they were sending me pictures of everything. So it was just really great teamwork, and it was great to work with them that way. And I had a great time doing it. And then I also it's our last coffee talk. I'm like reminiscing about the year. Yeah. And one of the things I wanted to acknowledge was Mrs. Caillou. I think this was a hard year. She stepped into a principal role in a complete, this is nothing anybody's ever seen, nothing anybody's ever dealt with. And I think you did it fantastically. I think it was challenging. And I see her out there every day. She's directing traffic even. And she's been a fantastic partner for WAVE. And so I just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate you.
It's so good. So good. Big shout out to Mrs. Caillou. Jen, it's hard to remember that, because you were the principal at Pebblewood in my brain, I'm like, oh, principal. But you went to become the director of C&I, and then when you stepped in as a principal, oh, by the way, there's a pandemic. Are you ready? We got
Yeah.
It's
been a busy year, but thank you, Amber. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your partnership. It's been a good year.
Yeah, as long as we're dishing out kudos, how about a big shout out for Amber Houston and Amber, your whole team, the WAVE team. What a year. Same deal. Hey, you got all these activities planned. Oh, by the way, there's going to be a pandemic. Are you ready? Keep us engaged, Amber. And you guys did. You kept us engaged all year long with science nights and all kinds of things. I'm looking forward to seeing what we pull off next year. I'm hoping it's a little more in person, but such gratitude for you and your team. Good stuff. Who is up next? I've got the next piece. I got a little riff on reflection, action, and transformation. We since last summer when we decided we were going to reflect on social justice and what that means to our school and our students and our staff. We've been in a very reflective process as a staff. We've committed to, as we've told you, each month working a little bit on a reflective piece for staff so that staff can have critical conversations with one another to say, hey, how do we approach this really important work? And so we've been following the teaching tolerance, anti-bias education standards. They're really cool. We've been exploring them as a staff, not implementing with the kids, but just using them as a platform for us to reflect on, like, hey, what do these look like, and what does that mean in education? Now, there's this little riff that says, hey, we're not implementing these standards, but we are using them to reflect. And there's 4 domains, 4 areas that these standards touch on: identity, diversity, justice, and action. What does that mean? As you start to look at this, like, hey, at some level, students should be able to identify. How do I identify? And once we can identify, then we can understand what diversity actually means in a healthy way. I understand that my identity is shaped by my experience and my life, and that your identity is shaped by yours. And so that if I appreciate my own identity and I also appreciate your identity, now we've described a healthy perspective of diversity. Then we look at justice and say, oh, are some people treated differently because of their group identity? Is that unjust, which is how we come to the social justice standards? And what actions might that lead us to kindergarten through 12th grade? Well, you go like, I don't know, man. I get what you're saying, but how does it actually look? So I think in the area of identity and diversity, we spoke to it for the last couple months. But I think this justice standard, I'm just going to pull one standard. Otherwise, I'll riff all night. But just one standard. I look at this and go, oh, it's a perfect example of, like, oh, that's what this looks like. So, like, let's look at under the justice domain, which is the standard that the staff kind of riffed on this month. I thought I'd bring it to our community. Here's an overarching domain statement, and I'll give you a specific standard underneath it that a student could theoretically accomplish if we were utilizing these standards in the classroom, right? So here it is. Students will recognize stereotypes and relate to people as individuals rather than representatives of a group. I think we could all kind of get behind that. Like, cool, I recognize you for who you are individually, not saying, oh, you're part of this group, and so therefore you must be whatever's associated with that group. I think kindergarten through whatever grade, we could agree, yeah, that's what we want, but even that's like, pretty far up here. So let's bring it down to an actual standard. I just love the simplicity of this. Like, if I'm a student, I should be able to say this. I know my friends have identities, but they are always still just themselves. I understand my identity, who I am, from whence I come, and I understand that you have an identity that's unique to you. But regardless of what identity group you fall into, it doesn't matter. You're still just that kid who sits next to me in class. You're my friend. I love this standard because it takes this very, like, Twitter topic that everybody's talking about and brings it, like, to the playground. At the playground level, I want my kids to recognize, hey, those are my friends. We're probably from different identity groups, but that doesn't matter. That kid's still my friend. I love that way of approaching it. Now, the standards have lots of depth the more you go up in grade levels and years, but what a great place for staff to start understanding, oh, okay, let's unpack what is identity, what is diversity, what is the recognition of justice. And so as our staff reflect on that, it helps us go through the process: reflection, action, transformation. So we as staff must reflect first and raise our critical consciousness and really understand these topics before we could, ever really start to understand how to unpack that. So I want to bring that out to you today. Thanks for, sitting through my riff there. I could talk about it all night. I love this piece. But we'll transition out of my academia and into amazingness. Here it comes. The high school happenings. What's happening in high school this week, Mrs. Batten? I know you, we brought you in as the closer because this is a pretty exciting riff.
It is, and I should have changed the header on tonight's slide because whilst I am going to speak about some things that have been happening in the high school world, tonight's presentation really is a K-12 piece, right? So I want to say that out loud so that we're all thinking about what I'm about to talk about as the impact on K-12. And maybe I'll just let everyone hang there for a minute. No. So I've talked at a variety of coffee talks about our high school spirit council. This was a group of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders who volunteered to be part of creating and visualizing and developing some really integral pieces of our high school. And this group started with Mascot, right? Because we thought, hey, when we think of an explorer, how is that going to look? What is that going to be on the basketball court? But who also is that explorer going to be in the kindergarten assembly next year? And how will that explorer represent our school? So for some reason, my animation's coming out a little bit different than normal, but there we go. Okay, perfect. So high school spirit council, that group of students, they started off as they began their conversation around explore. What does it mean to be an explorer? And I know that I've celebrated this group a lot, but I'm going to continue to shout sing their praises from the rooftops, because they came up with the words that I'm about to share. And the fact that our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders were able to so clearly articulate what it means to be an explorer was just a really cool experience. So they talked about it being a balance between academic and social emotional excellence. They talked about explorers always having curiosity. And when I say explorer, I mean a Westlake Charter School explorer. I just want to solidify that piece. So we're talking about our explorer students and explorer adults and the people watching this, people on the screen. Explorers have an openness to trying new things. I wish I could throw up some of the quotes from students as they describe what that means and how they've experienced that openness to trying new things on our campus, that they demonstrate positivity and a respect for each other. Throughout the entire sharing of these 90 students in the fall, we saw our core values come up over and over again. And so while we celebrate students based on the core values, we do our SEL lessons are rotated on the core values. Sometimes you're like, are they sticking? We get it in? And so then to hear our oldest students really reflect on how the core values are demonstrated in their classrooms and their school community was exciting. This group then identified what they wanted the explorer to look like, right? And when as we were transitioning off campus last year, I think I had some great conversations with adults who were like, well, what's your mascot going to be? Is it just going to be a person out there with a explorer cap on and a map? And I was like, we're going to have students help us decide that. And so they began giving some language to that piece. And they said that they want the explorer to be an inspiring individual or an inspiring representation. They wanted to be fierce. We were talking about having this explorer represent us on the courts, the sports court, the fields. And they wanted it to be inclusive. So they wanted to ensure that all of our students from our amazing diverse community could look at that explorer mascot and identify with that explorer and really see themselves or see it representing our school community. This group then went around. We began to brainstorm names. They wanted a mascot name that went with explorer. We got to alliteration and assonance and all those things, and that it was unique. So you'll hear throughout this presentation that they really wanted something that was unique. They're like, we've seen mascots from schools all over that are just the same. So we looked at some names, and I'm sharing these because I'm going to tonight, stay tuned, reveal the name of our explorer mascot. So we looked at Emmett, the explorer, Everest, the explorer, and Everblaze, the explorer. These were names that came up from students. Emerson, the explorer. Those were student names, and we had our student spirit council, high school spirit council, really vote and give us their input on these names. What you're seeing are some images that we talked about. What could an explorer be? Could the explorer be represented by an image that looked like a whale? That was an exciting conversation. I think I shared that at a coffee talk at one point. A wolf, an eagle, or a phoenix. And that phoenix idea was like, hey, let's make it unique. So in each of these, you saw that uniqueness coming through. I think the next few is just that piece. So we left there in the spring, and we have been working with this amazing graphic design team who really poured through the data that our students and our staff gave us as we began to define Explore. And you might be sitting there thinking, yes, I'm going to be the first person to see the Explore mascot. And you are a little bit. We're going to tonight unveil just a bit.
Oh, you're killing me. So we're going to unveil just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So Mr. Beck, you want to start unveiling?
I just want to mess it up. What if I over-click and show the whole Explore? Okay, I'm trying to click. Oh.
There you go. So you're seeing some of it. You're getting a piece of it, wondering what could it be? Oh, an eye, maybe?
It has an eye. It's not
Explore
a worm.
has an eye?
It's not a worm.
Not a
worm. Worms don't have eyes.
the Westlake Worms.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I'm clicking.
And yeah, so you get to see. Hopefully, you're seeing that Westlake blue, which we, our students, our Explorer High School Spirit Council has gotten to see more of this image. So if you're on the High School Spirit Council, you've gotten to see more of this revealed. But when they saw the blue, they were very excited. And so I'm excited to say that in the next 2 weeks, the Westlake community, you will get to meet Everest, the Explorer.
Everest the Explorer, I love it. I'm so excited. Can I just take the pieces up?
I will say that I know if you're on the screen watching right now that you probably are an avid Westlake Weekly reader. But I'm going to tell you that not this week's weekly, but the next week's weekly, there'll be the first Everest meeting. And over the next several weeks, as we get toward the end of the year, we will be engaging in some learning about who Everest is. Mm. There might be a game with some Everest prizes out there on the horizon. So Mrs. Kai, Mr. Ike, our whole team cannot wait to introduce our community to Everest, begin having Everest be part of our school community. And just a huge thank you to our High School Spirit Council. We also had several staff members that volunteered to jump on teams and give us feedback. And so we are... I wish I built this slide. I was really excited to do the unveil. I just want to show the whole thing.
Everybody smile. Like I gotta take a picture of this and tweet it out because this is killing me. All right, I got a picture. That's just too much. It's I want to see more. All right, that is phenomenal. So there's gonna be a big unveil where to learn the origin story of Everest the Explorer week after week. I mean, by the time summer comes, will I know? Will I get to see Everest?
You will know. Yes, awesome. You will know.
Awesome.
You will know.
Awesome. That is really cool, and that is a K-12 Explorer mascot. Meet Everest the Explorer. It's going to show up on the K-8 campus, on the 9-12 campus. Everest will be everywhere. I love it. Might Everest at some point make a personal appearance, on campus?
Yeah. So I hope I'm not destroying anybody's image of what a mascot is, but I talked with a mascot company who builds mascot suits. I often, when I talk about characters, feel bad that I'm. And they're like, oh, it's blue. So we have definitely, when we talk about unique, we have definitely checked that box. This company that builds mascots for the entire nation, of course, Westlake pushed them a little bit.
Yes, we did not do a cookie cutter mascot we got one in stock. They're right. We'll custom build that. I'm sure it's really inexpensive to do custom builds for mascot suits.
Yeah, super inexpensive.
Sorry, Mr. Corbink, our CBO. All right, that is fantastic news. Thank you for the great unveil, and big thanks to the High School Spirit Council and the families that allowed your child to be part of the High School Spirit Council. You have shaped this is a big deal for us. You have shaped a little piece of Westlake history, so thank you, everybody. Oh, gosh, I was afraid when I clicked it was all going to unveil. Okay, how can we help?
Yep, so this is just a repeat from last week's Coffee Talk. In the next 2 weeks also, we have plans coming from our outdoor landscapers. We have a really wonderful team who's already wanting to start to buy wood to build benches and tables. So if maybe you finish that outdoor project and you're I can tackle another one. We do have a form for you to sign up on, or you can just send me an email. We'll add you to the team, and we'll be sharing more information about actual events and potential things in our backyard or on our high school campus to get that school ready for our first day of school. I also, just a quick plug, we have very exciting news. We have posted our coaching positions on EdJoin. So there's a link to those in the Westlake Weekly. And so if you know of soccer coaches, basketball coaches, volleyball coaches, cross country coaches, we're looking to build that team, and we're so excited. We've had tremendous interest. I had a gentleman leave a message and say, you need me to develop your high school basketball team. And I was like, great.
I love it.
So we've got a lot of people who are excited to help our Explore Athletics continue to build and develop.
Yeah, our athletics director, Mr. O'Con, reached out to me today for a connection to another school, and he said, hey, do you know the AD over at this school? I said, yeah, here you go. But just a big fan of Mr. O'Con, our new athletics director at the high school. He'll be part of the hiring process for all of our coaches. If you're a coach out there or no coach out there, you will love working with John O'Con. Fabulous, wonderful educator, and he's going to lead our Explore Athletics program at the high school. It's so exciting. Well, thank you, Mrs. Batten. Hey, we are at that part of the Coffee Talk where we're wrapping up our side of the show, and we'd love to play any Q&A if you're out there. If there's any questions that we should respond to, Mrs. Caillou, let's do that. And if not, we will start to sign off. You got anything out there?
Yeah, so we have a celebration I'd like to celebrate, and
cool.
then we do have a question or kind of a comment that I'd love to for our team to address.
Cool.
The celebration and from Kieran says, "You all, WCS has gone above and beyond this year, and I truly appreciate you all for keeping us well informed and involved through coffee talks, weekly podcasts, and all the meetings being on YouTube." Well, thank you for being a watcher. That's what I would say back to you. Like, that's wonderful. Thanks for staying in tune with our school. And so the other one is in regards to, this parent says, "Hey, the school year is nearing its end, and most students have only seen kids in their own classrooms since returning to campus, and most have not seen other school friends. Can we please allow the students to visit with other friends in their grade? The weather is great, and we have dots in large outdoor spaces, social distancing. They all wear their masks. Safety protocols are well learned." So the advocation of, can we get other kids to kind of group up? And it's a good ask, and I wonder how our team could go in the tank and see how can we safely get kids to interact in a way that would feel good to everybody.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's a great ask. We should go. Let's go. Let's put that on the agenda for our Thursday meeting, Caillou, because you think about it. Like, okay, my daughter's in 3rd grade. Some of her best friends, were in her class last year, but not in her class this year. Now they're right. So how do you get that to happen? Let's put that on a Thursday agenda. No promises, but let's try and figure something out. I love that idea, and I agree. I mean, the kids know the protocols. They are killing it. They are so. Our kids are so great. They're staying on the dots. They're using the masks. They're doing what they need to do. I love that idea. I did see like 5th grade went out to see King George on the roof this week, which was hilarious. And I saw like 5th grade socially distancing, have multiple classes outside on dots spread out looking at King George. And I thought, oh yeah, there's a larger gathering, but in a safe way. So I think, let's see if we can't figure out how to do that for other grade levels so they can see their friends. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, team, as we wrap it up, I mean, it sounds like the forum doesn't have much left in it. Anything left for our final send-off, our final coffee talk? Any last thoughts, you guys?
I was thinking a competition with the Let's Explore, but I figure we'll save that for a podcast maybe. Just Mrs. Houston has the best Let's Explore,
really
so I thought we could do it here, but we'll save it for a podcast.
Let's be honest. There's a little gag in the podcast at the end. We always do the "let," and really, I've been replaced. I mean, let's just call it out there. Mrs. Houston has the best Let's Explore. She should sign off tonight. I think that's probably how I should do that. Everyone's like, yeah. Amber's like, no. Hey, I would like to say, though, for this team, you guys, look, we've done a podcast every week for 36 weeks this year. We've done a coffee talk every month for 10 months this year. All 4 of us have been at every board meeting on YouTube. And prior to this year, I mean, really, how many times have we ever been on live on YouTube or done these things? So, hey, good on all of you for being flexible and willing to dive in and do all these things that we do. Mrs. Houston, thank you for, being like, we're live on YouTube. I'm in. Let's do it. And, for Caillou and Batten, thanks you guys for leading the way you lead and your willingness to be flexible this year. I don't know what we'll do next year. I'm sure it'll be awesome. But I kind of like to see we couldn't keep some portion of live stream available because I think, this just makes it accessible. So we'll try to figure out a way to do it. Any closing thoughts, team? Going once? Going twice. All right, families. Thanks for watching our coffee talk here on the YouTubes. I'm going to sign us off, but if you want to hear the real Let's Explore, you'll have to listen to the podcast and catch Amber Houston's riff. Thanks for tuning in.